story of my running. In 2016, I joined Pinkathon, started with 2 kilometers, underwent various challenges and trainings, and became a long distance runner. I have ran few intercity runs, other long distances, running runs. In fact, this is the story of many other Pinkies too. Pinkathon is a community platform where women of less physical activity experience come over to and share their experiences, train together and become athletes, marathoners and winners of many races. Getting back women of less physical activity to regular physical activities is in fact a contribution to their fitness and also has economic benefits too. Regular physical activities has less risk to diseases like cardiovascular issues, diabetes, hypertension, in fact, breast cancer and dementia too. Also, it leads to lesser premature mortality. Also, regular physical activity has an impact on the work performance too, and hence the productivity too. Pinkathon thus contributing to the fitness of women as well as the fitness of the society as well as the fitness and economy of the country too.
Pinkathon is much more than just a running event for women. It is a platform where women get to discover their strengths, beliefs and potential. Here, women find courage to break the barriers on their own or with the support of other Pink sisters. It is certainly a seed of positive change and transformation. At Pinkathon, women are encouraged to step out of their homes, to adopt a healthy lifestyle, to improve her overall health and fitness, and ultimately the family's health, and hence building up the healthy society, and in this way the entire nation.
Hi, I'm Rajeshwari Saklecha, Chennai's Pinkathon ambassador, and yes, the economic performance of any country is directly linked to its health performance. Wealthier countries have healthy populations. Healthy citizens equals to healthy economy, and healthy economic performance equals to healthy countries. Yes, healthy countries equals to wealthy countries. You may ask why, and here is the reason. Healthy citizens are goal-oriented. Healthy citizens are energetic citizens. They are disciplined, they're energetic, they're consistent, they're self-motivated, they manage their time better. So why wouldn't a country need more citizens like that? A country needs more people like that. A country, not only in aspects of their health, but a country needs more people to grow in terms of economy as well. Economy needs more people like that to grow in terms of wealth and power as well.
Pinkathon is a movement that establishes the importance of physical fitness in women and empowers them to take time out every single day towards some form of activity that helps them stay physically and mentally fit. The emphasis that we lay on the education, financial security and independence of women should be extended towards health and fitness too, and Pinkathon makes that happen one woman at a time. While being the primary and the chief functioning officers of our homes and lives, Pinkathon has enabled thousands of women, including me, to learn to put ourselves first and take good care of ourselves. Like the message says, fit women for fit families.
Hi everyone, this is ANJUM MOUDGIL. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. Like everyone knows, COVID-19 pandemic hit the world and every person in the world are really hard, and same like the sports industry, there were many events getting cancelled or postponed. So, this pandemic, gave us an opportunity to look into things apart from the field we are into it. So it gave me, opportunity to recover, which I think was much required for everyone, to spend time with the family, to take our creative side out and to find out what you can explore more about yourself. And yes, so that's how I spent most of my lockdown, painting, working on my online courses for my mental health, doing physical training at home, having unique ideas to, exercise, staying at home.
नमस्कार, मैं हूं दीप्ति चंद अर्जुनवाड़ी। मैं बिलीव करती हूँ जो अच्छा स्पोर्ट्स करता है इनका शरीर बहुत अच्छा रहता है और खुद सुस्त रहता है और बाकी परिवार लोग को भी सुस्त रखने की कोशिश करता है। मैं ये मानती हूँ जो स्पोर्ट्स करेगा जिंदगी भर कभी बीमारी नहीं होगा। जैसे मैं अभी तक मैं कोई बड़ा बीमारी का सामना नहीं किया है। मैं स्पोर्ट्स करती हूँ इसलिए मैं खुद को सुस्त रखती हूँ और खुद को फिट रखती हूँ।
Hi, I am Jinson Johnson, middle distance runner, national record holder in 1500 meter race and gold medalist in 2018 Asian Games. I am confident that sports will restart across all categories. I am also putting special attention to make sure my mental state is always on point.
Hello, I am Neeraj Chopra, gold medal winner at the 2018 Asian Games in javelin throw and current national record holder. I look forward to seeing sports make a comeback and I am optimistic about the future of sports.
Hi, मैं HIMA दास, sprinter and current Indian record holder in 400 meter. मैं ये मानती हूँ कि वातावरण के साथ हम सभी लोगों को एडजस्ट करना चाहिए। लॉकडाउन के दौरान मैंने अपने फिटनेस को और डाइट को काफ़ी ख्याल रखा ताकि मेरा स्किल अच्छी रहे, फिट रहे, इम्यून रहे।
Hi, I am MANDHANA, sprinter and current national record in 400 meter. I am positive that the sports will make comeback after this pandemic and therefore advise all my fellow athletes to continue putting their hard work preparation for the training.
Hello everyone, so finally we are getting sports back on track, and as an athlete I'm really very excited and looking forward because we've been in such a situation where everything has come to a standstill and everyone was at home doing nothing, and being a sports person, being an athlete, it was really hard for us to stay home without traveling or without any tournaments. So I think it's really good that now things have been changing and we've started getting back on track, and it's a good thing for every athlete because we can come back and focus on our sport and play the sport. So I'm really very happy and really looking forward for it.
Hi guys, this is SMRITI MANDHANA, and I think there's definitely a headroom available to develop women's cricket in India. And I think the easiest way to develop is to reach the grassroots level, try to get that passion in young girls, try to give them better facilities and good skill training from at that young age. So I think there'll be a lot of interest, and then we'll be able to grow women's cricket overall and grow the interest of young girls to play cricket or want to be a cricketer much more, and we'll get a lot of more girls coming through the ranks. So if we want to take the game to the next level in India, I think this is the easiest way to do it, and I think we all should work towards that.
Pinkathon for me is the story of my running. In 2016, I joined Pinkathon, started with 2 kilometers, underwent various challenges and trainings and became a long distance runner. I have ran few intercity runs, other long distances, running runs. In fact, this is the story of many other Pinkies too. Pinkathon is a community platform of women of less physical activity experience come over to and share their experiences, train together and become athletes, marathoners and winners of many races. Getting back women of less physical activity to regular physical activities is in fact a contribution to their fitness and also has economic benefits too. Regular physical activities has less risk to diseases like cardiovascular issues, diabetes, hypertension, in fact, breast cancer and dementia too. Also, it leads to lesser premature mortality. Also, regular physical activity it has an impact on the work performance too, and hence the productivity too. Pinkathon thus contributing to the fitness of women as well as the fitness of the society as well as the fitness and economy of the country too.
Pinkathon is much more than just a running event for women. It is a platform where women get to discover their strengths, beliefs, and potential. Here, women find courage to break the barriers on their own or with the support of other Pink sisters. It is certainly a seed of positive change and transformation. At Pinkathon, women are encouraged to step out of their homes, to adopt a healthy lifestyle, to improve her overall health and fitness, and ultimately the family's health, and hence building up the healthy society, and in this way the entire nation.
Hi, I'm Rajeshwari Saklecha, Chennai's Pinkathon ambassador, and yes, the economic performance of any country is directly linked to its health performance. Wealthier countries have healthy populations. Healthy citizens equals to healthy economy, and healthy economic performance equals to healthy countries. Yes, healthy countries equals to wealthy countries. You may ask why, and here is the reason. Healthy citizens are goal-oriented. Healthy citizens are energetic citizens. They are disciplined, they are energetic, they are consistent, they are self-motivated, they manage their time better. So why wouldn't a country need more citizens like that? A country needs more people like that. A country, not only in aspects of their health, but a country needs more people to grow in terms of economy as well. Economy needs more people like that to grow in terms of wealth and power as well.
Thank you.
A warm welcome to all our panelists, and I request all our panelists please turn on their cameras so we could begin the panel discussion. A warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure. And we just saw the videos of the Pinkathon athletes, the women of India giving fitness the utmost importance, the need of the hour, indeed. With that, we move on to our next panel discussion. Before that, I would like to mention that we will have a question and answer session at the end of the panel discussion. Request all our viewers to please type their questions in the Q&A section, which is at the top right of the screen, mentioning first whom you want to address the question to, then your name and the organization that you belong to, and the question. That way, it becomes easier for us to address it to the right and respective individual. Our next panel discussion is on producing world.
Sachin, I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Apologize for that. I think the technical error. I welcome all the panelists this afternoon and all our viewers as well. I would repeat the important hygiene announcement, which is there will be a Q&A session at the end of the panel discussion, and I request our viewers to please type their questions in the question answer session, which is at the top right of your screen, mentioning first whom you want to address the question to, then your name, and then the organization that you belong to, and then the question. That way, it becomes easier for us to address the question to the right and respective individual. Thank you. With that, we shall begin the panel discussion, which focuses on producing world champions. And would like to extend a warm welcome to our panelists. Up first, Sri Sandeep Pradhan, Director General Sports Authority of India, presently working as Director General Sports Authority of India on central deputation basis, worked as Deputy Director General Sports Authority of India and handling Khelo India project and other schemes of SII, member convener of Olympic Task Force formed by Honorable Prime Minister of India for recommendation on improvement of India's performance in Olympics, worked as Director General Sports Authority for Gujarat for 4 years, recruitment of sports persons in government departments, founder mentor of an NGO called Lux that promotes and supports sports persons, and was also part of BCCI Corporate Cricket Committee. So warm welcome to Shri Sandeep Pradhan, sir. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us. We also have with us Mr. Adil Sumariwala. He'll be joining us anytime now. He's the President of Athletics Federation of India, Founder and Managing Director, Interspace Communications Private Limited Media House. He is a Board Director, SE Transstadia Holdings Limited, Next Radio Limited, Next Media Works Limited, President Provost, Transstadia Education and Research Foundation, Governing Council, Sports, PE, Fitness and Leisure, Skills Council of India, Member Sports Committee, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and National Committee on Sports, Confederation of Indian Industry. His educational qualifications include an MBA, Asian Institute of Management from India. We're waiting for Mr. Adil Sumariwala to join us. As soon as he joins in, we will get him onto this virtual space for the panel discussion. We also have with us Mr. Raskina, Director and CEO, Olympic Gold Quest. Mr. Raskina is the former captain of the Indian hockey team and has played 180 international matches for India, including the Athens Olympics 2004. He is an Arjuna awardee for hockey, having bestowed this honor in the year 2005. He completed his MBA from the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad in 2010, and is currently the CEO of Olympic Gold Quest, not-for-profit organization started by legends Geet Sethi and Prakash Padukone that looks after the training of Olympic athletes with a mission to help India win Olympic gold medals. We are also joined by Ms. Dipti Bopaya, Executive Director, Go Sports Foundation. She's Executive Director at Go Sports Foundation, a non-profit organization founded in 2008, which supports junior, emerging, and elite athletes in Olympic and Paralympic disciplines. Mission is to use sports excellence as a vehicle for social change and a tool to improve the lives of individuals, communities, and the state of our nation, along with implementing the vision of the foundation's advisors, Rahul Dravid and Pulela Gopichand. Welcome, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And we'd also like to welcome our next panelist, Mr. Pulela Gopichand, Chief National Coach, Indian Badminton Team. He's a former professional badminton player himself, having won 5 national championships between 1996. And his achievements include Arjuna Award winner in the year 2000, Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award in 2001, Star Sports Person of the Year 2001, Birla Sports Person of the Year in the year 2001, another one the same year, International Player of the Year in the year 2005, Padma Shri Award for the year, the year 2009, Dronacharya Award for the year, and 2014, Padma Bhushan Award for the year. Mr. Pulela Gopichand, it's indeed a pleasure to have you here with us. Thank you so much for joining us. And the session will be moderated by Mr. Neil Shah, Program Director, Global Institute of Sports Business. He has 18 years of experience in the development and commercialization of football in North America, Asia, and Europe. In his current position with India on Track, he is responsible for running the Global Institute of Sports Business Sports Management Program, as well as securing new business for the group. He spent 7 years with New York-based Major League Soccer, serving as a league's director of fan development. Mr. Neil Shah is an MBA in sports management from Seton Hall University, New Jersey. Warm welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. To all the panelists, thank you. And would like to give a gentle reminder to all our viewers to send their questions in the Q&A section, which is right at the top of your screen on the right-hand side. And please mention whom you want to address the question to. Also, if you're viewing this event on YouTube Live, please feel free to put in your questions in the comment box. And also a humble request to all our panelists to please operate only from one device. Any other device using the same platform in the same premise that you are in might lead to an echo in the audio. So request you please only use one device. And before the panel discussion, may I request Shri Sandeep Pradhan, Director General Sports Authority of India, to deliver the keynote address, post which I request Mr. Shah to take over and moderate the session. Shri Pradhanji, it's over to you. May I request you to unmute, sir? Yes.
चैंपियन बनाना और बनना एक सोच है. Whenever a country or a society decides to be on top of anything, it starts with a thought to excel. We are very fortunate that we have the intent and the dream. Now we are looking at higher laurels and achievement for Indian sports. Now we have the vision and aspiration of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who once said, in this interconnected and interdependent world, a nation's soft power is vital. Sports has become an important part of soft power. It's his vision and dream to see India excel at a global sporting arena that we all are working towards the vision to see India to excel in the sports. Our Honorable Sports Minister has also given a clarion call to be in the top 10 by 2028 Olympics. A big dream, but a clear vision and a strong intent. Ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I am thankful to Sri Anupam Goswami, Sri Jalaj Dani, and all members of CII Sports who have made this program possible in these pandemic days. As I have always been saying, it's extremely difficult to speak about elite sports in front of luminaries such as Gopichand, Viren, and Adil, who need no introduction, and they are Vishwa Pitama in the field of sports. I always say, and I learn a lot from all of them, including Go Sports Foundation, headed by Dipti. But whenever we have an interaction with Honorable Prime Minister, he would always say, why can't one state adopt one sports for excellence in Olympics? We are a large country. Our one state is equal or even bigger than many European countries. Our corporates are also very large and capable. So why can't one corporate adopt one sports and excel in Olympics? Why can't they give a medal in Olympics? Friends, before we dwell upon the idea and the concept of champion and world champion, all of you are aware there are two basic aspects of sports. One is a culture of sports and another is excellence in sports. For example, in a game like badminton, a game like boxing and wrestling in some pockets, they are very popular. Entire country plays tennis cricket. So whether it will lead to an excellence in Olympics? Yes, in some case like boxing, wrestling and badminton, which are Olympic sports, yes. But in a tennis cricket, yes, from culture point of view, it is very important. But when we have to strive for all excellence in Olympics, we have to choose the sports in which we want to excel or the sports in which we can excel. Now, after having identified the sports, we have to have the different strategy for different sports. For example, in boxing, wrestling and badminton, when we have a critical mass, the strategy has to be different. But in a game like say fencing, cycling and weightlifting, which are not very popular, doesn't have a critical mass, our strategy will have to be different. Where the culture of sports exists and we have to excel in that particular sports, probably we can give a funding to a different stakeholders. But when the culture of sports doesn't exist, then at a grassroots level, at an intermediate level and at an elite level, entire support system will have to be created. Historically, in our countries, a very few elite athletes have beaten the odds and brought laurels to the nation. However, when we draw a comparison with few countries, we observe that all of them will have a long-term vision plan and a plan in place which enables the athletes to compete at the highest level. Friends, what goes into the making of a world champion? So the different aspect of the elite sports, the first and the foremost is the athlete himself. So how we identify the talent, how we support him, how we take care of the athlete is very important. The second important person is the coach. Unless we have a system which is driven by the coach, unless we empower the coach, unless we have the system in place for his knowledge upgradation, unless we have a system to acknowledge the efforts and the hard work of the coach, it's very difficult to produce a factory of world champions. The third aspect is sports science. Sports science not only at an elite level, but also at our level. And our athletes and coaches will have to be educated. They will have to be provided with sufficient set of sports science support. The fourth element or the pillar would be equipments and infrastructure. And the competition structure is very important. The robust competition structure that we have a grassroots level, development level, and also for elite level in the country, it will be very difficult to have a large pool of world champions. Apart from all this, the soft support such as the education, the management support, the federations, the government, all providing the soft support. It's very, very important. Friends, in a pyramidal structure, we have to have a critical mass at a grassroots level, development level, and also at a elite level. Unless and until we have a critical mass, it will be the production of a world champion will be just one of efforts. So I will just enumerate few of the steps taken by the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs and the Sports Authority of India in this regard. As all of you know, we have started a Khelo India Games 3 years back, and it is essentially catching up. It's creating a culture of sports. It is making the heroes. The heroes are before the people, and I think that's very, very important. It also tries to provide a world-class competition environment in our country. At a grassroots level, we have started to train the physical education teachers, and we have asked them to do the fitness assessment of the children through which we can identify a sporting potential. Friends, earlier, the state government and many other stakeholders, the coaches used to go and do a talent identification at a grassroots level. But now we are having an institutional mechanism in place. And before pandemic, we already had done an assessment of 22 lakh children. Now we will be identifying the potential talent after shortlisting them. As you know, that we have also announced to support 1,000 small Khelo India centers. And in those centers, we are going to give a job to ex-athletes. We have also announced to support, and out of those 100, we have all at 1,000, we have already finalized more than 100, and in next couple of weeks, more 100 more centers will be finalized. And apart from that, in order to support the private academies, the private akhadas in a game like wrestling, we have requested federations to identify small training center or even big training center, the academies, and request them to go give us a model of funding. So in next year, we should be able to finalize 500 such training centers of academies for which we will be providing funds to the federation, who in turn will provide the funds to the small and the middle and the large training centers who are producing grassroots as well as elite level athletes and also at the top level athletes. As you know, we have also worked upon a concept called a Khelo India State Center of Excellence. Many of the state governments, or I would say most of the state governments, do have a center of excellence. However, there may be some critical gaps. So we have done a gap analysis and have provided a viability gap support to one center in each state. And we have requested the state to concentrate on 1 to 2, 3 games to produce the medalist from that particular center. And the support is typically in the form of equipment, consumables, sports scientists, and high quality coaches. So this is the support we are going to provide. And apart from all this, as you know, we have a Khelo India Talent Identification and Development Program where we have accredited the private, government, as well as state academies. And on the other hand, the talent development committees chaired by the Federation President as well as our representative, they are identifying the talents and putting those talents in those academies. And for one athlete, we are providing a financial support of 5 lakh rupees to that athlete. I'm very happy to say that most of the private academies are also now accredited under Khelo India. We need to build on the entire system. I know many of the academies would say that 5 lakh per athlete is not sufficient. So we have also now come up with the concept of Target Olympic Podium, National Center of Excellence. So along with the Federation, Sports Authority of India and the Federation have come together, identifying 4 to 6 academies for excellence for 2024. We are putting the best of the athletes in those centers and going to provide a full support to those academies from where the excellence will be produced. We are also tying up with the CSR partners, where the CSR partner would come as our partner in some of the centers and do a viability gap analysis and funding. So that will, for example, we are already working with the Glenmark Foundation in swimming. We are very shortly going to have more private partners on board. As you know, as a part of athlete-centric efforts, we had established Target Olympic Podium scheme. And apart from elite level athletes for 2021 Olympics, we have already identified more than 270 athletes for 2024 Olympics. Now we are going to provide a support to athletes. However, our efforts will be to provide more support to the academies which are training these athletes so that we can create a system. And our wish is, and our vision is to see that through the system, through the academies, the Olympians and the champions are produced. Friends, hiring of sports science personnel and ex-athletes, we are bringing ex-athletes on deputation. We are hiring more than 250 sports scientists from physiology, strength and conditioning and various departments, and many of them have already joined SII National Center of Excellence. We are constructing more than 10 hostels for elite athletes with the capacity of more than 4,500. So all these initiatives are already underway. We are very fortunate that we have an intent, we have the leadership and right set of people at right place. At the end, I would only say that unless the athletes and coaches has support from the society, it is extremely difficult to produce the world champion. To the athlete, the society matters the most. We have to make the hero at a grassroots level. Any athlete winning any medal, going to his village or her village, being acknowledged, cherished, there cannot be any comparison. Any athlete who is finding a place in the newspaper or a digital media, there is no comparison. Any athlete who is, being watched on TV, there is no comparison. So my request to all of you, what can we do to support a world champion or to a champion? To watch them playing. That will increase the viewership, that will bring funds to that particular sport. In turn, it will give support to the athlete. So with this, I would once again congratulate the CII for organizing this wonderful seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pradhan. That's extremely encouraging. So there's an old African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child. And as we know, it takes an ecosystem to identify, develop, and nurture a world-class athlete. Now, on this panel, we're fortunate to have individuals representing a diverse organization serving the Indian sports ecosystem, each making a significant impact on our country's efforts to produce sporting talent. As Mr. Pradhan just talked about, the focus on talent development has been stronger than ever in India. And during this session, we'll learn about the various stakeholders are doing to contribute to this area. We'll also discuss the key ingredients and actions required to ensure that the Indian flag is proudly and consistently displayed on the Olympic podium across multiple events. And I'm humbled to be chairing this session because each of these individuals here on the screen has been in a pole position in their respective domains, leading the way and driving growth for our sports ecosystem. They have seen what it takes to create an environment that produces and supports winning talent, but not just behind the scenes as administrators, but also as elite athletes. As this panel includes 2 Olympians, an IBF World Grand Prix champion and holder of many, many other international titles, and a Karnataka state athlete in both tennis and basketball. So we have a lot from them, and let's jump in and hear from these experts. So I'll starting actually with you, Mr. Pradhan. I wanted to just know that if we're talking about, I think you said that being top 10 by 2028 Olympics, and that's a goal, it's a target. Now, to do that, we of course need to have facilities that are at the same levels as some of those other nations that are producing the kind of medals that counts that we've seen over the years. So I just want to understand from you, in terms of our top centers of excellence, how do they compare to those in some of the more developed sporting nations?
As far as the high performance center is concerned, let us take an example of Purila Gopichand's academy in Hyderabad. When he started to train Saina or SINDHU, what kind of facilities he had and how he has produced the champion. So in my opinion, the key is the coach. If we have a good coach and we start providing the support, as I mentioned, in the form of sports science, equipment, and other supports, slowly and steadily, things will improve. See, hard support, in my opinion, is just one of the components. And I don't think we don't have the infrastructure in place for producing the champions to be top 10 in the world. We do have a sufficient infrastructure. Look at the facilities in Balewadi, look at the facilities in JSW, look at the facility in Army Sports Institute, look at some facilities in some of the centers in SII. They are decent enough to allow the coaches to train. Probably what we need to focus on a high quality of coaches, high quality of performance coaching, high of sports science support, good diet, and the basic things to produce the champion. Yes, as far as to come in the top 3 in the world or top 5 in the world, we will need to do a much more even in terms of infrastructure.
Thank you. No, well said. And the coach is such an important and critical element, as rightly seen with Gopi Chand's success with so many athletes. Mr. Sumariwala, I would just, coming to the federation, I would want to understand from you, when you look at a national sports federation, what do you see that their role is in this kind of topic of producing world-class athletes? Like, where do you see the federation kind of playing a role? And also, I also want to understand, what are the limitations or challenges that you're facing as the president of a federation in terms of achieving the kind of performance targets that you would like to achieve?
Thank you, Neil. I think the pivot, the center point is the federation, as it is across the world. Without federation, there's nothing that can be done. What we need and what we are getting is support. We need from government, you need support from, and we look to government for infrastructure support. We look to the private sector for sponsorships. And I think a combination of both these, because federations are the only ones who really know the athlete, who deal with the athlete on a day-to-day basis. We go right down to the grassroots level. We deal with the elite athletes. The federations are the ones that bring the athletes from grassroots to elite. There is support required all across. There are NGOs. There are 2 very, very fine NGOs sitting on this panel. Dipti, I think they are about 20 of my athletes. They support. We need them. There is Viren on this panel. There are, you see, athletics is very, very complex. I mean, it's different if you're a team like a football or something like that. But here there are 50 events, and the needs of each of these groups is very different. The diet is different. The coaches are different. Their psychological setup is different. So it's a very, very complex thing. We need a lot of external support to do the program that we need to do. The government has been fantastic in supporting our programs, our elite athletes. What we find is that the industry has not pulled its weight. There is the last mile that needs to be taken care of, and I think the NGOs have done an outstanding job, both Viren and Dipti, with our athletes to ensure that last mile, because the small little things like, I'm late for a flight, have I got my flight right, have I got my right seat on a flight, that last mile, which is a huge irritant to an athlete's psychological setup, is being taken care of. And as you know, the federations don't get a single rupee from the government as to a grant to the federation. The government gives me fancy money for my athletes, and very, very good money, and they're supported with foreign coaches, high performance directors, sports science, whatever. But so the federation also needs to run. We run the largest grassroots level program in the world, where we reach over 500 districts. So it's a very, very complex issue as far as Athletics Federation goes. It may not be as complex as for say team sports, but I think everybody, my view is everybody needs to work together. Everybody needs to contribute. And I think together we can make things happen and produce champions. Nobody can do it alone.
So well said. Thank you so much, Adil. And it's clearly a full service role in the federation, and there's so much happening behind the scenes, and there's also so much happening in dependency and collaboration with other stakeholders. You've kind of highlighted OGQ and Go Sports. Gopi, I want to kind of come to you because you've literally have seen it from every single angle in terms of this topic of producing world-class athletes, and you being one yourself. If you had a wish list from the government of India and national sports federations, I mean, can you walk me through that holiday list that you would ask for? And let's take any limitations or challenges out of the way, and just I would love to hear from somebody who I know would use every single thing on that wish list to the best of your ability as well. I think you're on mute, Sophie. Yeah.
Thank you, Neil. For one, I think we'll take up from where Mr. Sandeep Pradhan had left. I think to have the leadership and intent from the top is something which I would have really asked for first. And that's something which, after many, many years, sports has at least got that from the very highest position. The Prime Minister talking about it really is something which I would really want to, and that's something we've had. From the parental side, there's a lot more interest to allow kids to take up sport. And there is a huge interest in sport and people ready to take the risk of playing sport. That's something which is also a big positive in the last few years. We need inspirations, and also that's an area which we have done well. In the last few years, we have some champions. We have many more coming, and I'm sure there's support in that front as well. Since you asked me for my wish list, I would say I think great coaches make great players. Great infrastructure doesn't. So it's very, very important that we get the perspective right. We get things in order of how we do. So there's not much which is done. Of course, I am one of the most fortunate one, from rewards to awards to recognition. I've got all of it in that sense, much more probably than what I deserve. But truly, I think there are many, many coaches across the country who struggle. And I think that's an area which really needs to be addressed big time. The second important thing is they're fantastic people. The interest in sport in the last few years has meant that people have come in to support, whether it's governments, whether it's NGOs, whether it's associations. Today, more than ever before, I see more and more people support sport and want Indian sport to do the best, whether it's industry, whether it's governments, various governments. Big lack I see in the system is that you have a central government and a state government. You have state federations, district federations, and the central federations. You have NGOs, different NGOs, you have different corporates, you have private academies, you have institutions like universities, like army, like railways. You have schemes like Top Scheme and Kalo India. I think one wish list, if I have, is that I think we need somebody to put all of them together and to find out whose role is what. At the moment, everybody is rushing to the top to fund the top players, and there's hardly anything which has got to the next level of players. Only now, in the last few years, are we talking about it. There's a lot to be achieved, because if you need top performances and world champions, you have to have a structured program which is clearly understood by the people who run it, what high performance is. There will be a lot of dead wood which you need to cut off without wasting time and energy and resources, and that has to be done in very clearly. I mean, all of us would understand that if you need, it's not a number which really is important, but how much of quality talent you have, which fits into the norms of even a physical body of whether if you're a basketballer, what kind of height and weight you need to be, what kind of genetic makeup you need to be, is something which is very clear. So how many of that kind are playing sport and training for the highest level? These are things which are very, very important. So we need a very focused, structured program with a lot of accountability for each member of the sports program. So one last wish list, if I can say, is everything, whatever happens in the country, should be part of a big plan. It cannot be in silos.
Wow, that's perfect. Actually, I'll take that to my institute students and just say this is it. Let's all develop ourselves to become people who can actually deliver this for not just you, Gopi, but everyone who's out there serving this larger movement and goal of producing world-class athletes. So thank you for sharing your insights and wisdom. Viren, I'm gonna turn it to you, and the last three individuals, three gentlemen, have talked about the importance of an ecosystem, the importance of funding and support coming in from players outside of maybe even the sporting environment. And OGQ has been at the helm of working with private corporates and also working with PSUs and making sure that funding is coming into sports in a strategic way as well, and also a mutually beneficial way. So I would just want to understand from you is, how do you advise when you're speaking to a corporate or speaking to a PSU? And what approach do you take to advise them on investing in the sporting landscape, especially in this area of elite player athlete development?
Yeah, thanks, Neil. I think coming after people like Pradhan sir, Adil sir, Gopi, it's very hard for me to say anything further because most of the key points are already covered. So I won't overlap in any way because they have all touched upon very important points. And yes, even Pradhan sir mentioned in his talk that corporate support is critical. I definitely think that for us to think about sport when we are going to corporates, we have to go not with the begging bowl, but with a vision and a plan. I think there is always funds for not just sport, but I would say any activity in the country. If the plan is right, the people are right, and there's credibility. And if we go with the right plan, with the right vision, I'm sure there is more and enough funding. And we have to always think for the long term as well. I think in Indian sport, the mistake that we make very often is that we think from tournament to tournament, and we don't really think for the long run. If you look at China, the difference they made in their Olympic sport from 1998 Seoul Olympics to 2008 Beijing Olympics, and UK as well, the difference they made in their system from 96 Atlanta to 2012 London Olympics. I think huge progress made by the sport. In China, obviously, that was backed centrally by the government, but I think UK, they very strategically use the lottery system to divert money towards sport. And we got to come up with the right strategies for fundraising. And today I'm thrilled to see former Olympians and sports persons like Adil sir heading one of the most or probably the most important sports federation in the country. I would say Pradhan sir is doing a great job at SII by attracting former international players to coaching. We need a lot of more former international athletes in the game. Gopi mentioned about coaches being rewarded, and I absolutely agree. Not just the elite coach like Gopi Chand is important, but coaches at the grassroots level, intermediate level, every single coach is important. We need to attract the best talent into sport. Today, the best talent from the IITs and IIMs are going into the corporate world. We need to come to the stage where we are mature enough as an industry to hire the best talent, to attract the best talent, and for sport to really be aspirational. And for that, the gentleman ahead of me all rightly said, we all need to work together, all stakeholders, whether the government, SII, TOPs, federations, NGOs. The goal is one for all of us to take sport up, to produce world champions, to create role models like Mary Kom, Saina, Sindhu that inspire millions of young kids to play sport. And I think if we all do that, nothing is impossible. I definitely feel that corporate support will way if we get far more professional and if we go with the right plan, with the right people and the right credibility and intent.
Thank you. That touches Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jared. That touches so much of what Gopi was saying also, is everything we do has to be part of a larger plan. So that would include having people like yourself and Deepthi going and selling the larger vision for the development of sports in India to corporates, to PSUs. And Deepthi, I want to talk to you about CSR funding. When the Companies Act came out many years ago, and we saw that there was a list of a number of different areas which would account if companies and corporates invested in those areas. It was kind of part of this act in the 2%. But all of a sudden, sports, I've really seen it pick up over the years, and I think that's a lot thanks to companies like yourselves, like Go Sports and OGQ. What I would want to know though is that sitting here in 2021, when you're approaching a corporate, what tangible and intangible benefits can you commit to, or at least project that they would get out of investing some of their CSR funding into athlete development?
Great. Thank you so much, Neil, and to CII. And, like Viren rightly said, talking after everybody who's acknowledged most of the things, I'm going to try and give a slightly different perspective on why corporates should really invest into sport. Just to give a sense that, CSR, since its inception, since 2014 to 2020, has about 50,000 crores that is available for corporates to invest into, various different areas of the Companies Act. And if you see over the years, there's close to about 800 crores that's actually come into sport, which is probably less than 2% of the overall funds that are available. So when you actually go and sit in front of a corporate, I think the approach that we've always taken is really nation building through sport. Mr. Pradhan spoke about sport being a soft power, spoke about what are the other intangible aspects that sport can really bring to the table. So if you look at, role models that Viren spoke about, you're inspiring an entire generation to take up sport. You're inspiring them to be fit, to stay out of crime, to stay out of drugs, lead a healthy life. I think there are so many benefits that we can all talk about sport. All of us have, obviously not at my level, I played only till the state level, but even then, that urge and wanting to be part of an Olympic team or being part of a national team remains a dream. But today, to be able to bring all of that together and work with key stakeholders and try and get funding from corporate has really evolved. If you look at when we started in 2008, funding was so difficult. It was just, reaching out to individuals who believed in the power of sport, who've played sport themselves. But ever since CSR has come in, Gopi or Adil or anybody else who's gone to a sponsor and sat in front of a corporate will understand that it is about showing them that plan. It is about showing them how you'll invest it. And I think organizations like OGQ, us, GSW, we've been able to position why sport, is a great avenue to look at for your CSR funding as well. So we've been, at least at Go Sports, been very, very fortunate for some of, very, very big organizations who've changed their internal mandates and included sport into it. So I think we use the approach of nation building through sport. It's not about the one medal, but it's about the process. It's about the journey. It's about getting athletes to pursue excellence. And we're just using sports as that vehicle. So at the end of the day, irrespective of, that medal coming or not, you have a fantastic role model, a fantastic citizen to this country and who can give back to sport and really take it to next heights. So I think for us, we look at it in that aspect. But I must say, just the last, it's my 9th year now in sport. I used to be a banker previously. So for me, dealing with money and then now coming into the sports ecosystem and the administration side, it's so different because today we are working so closely with the ministry. We're working with, the DG's office. We're working with the federations. We're talking to them. We're having conversations and then deciding how to keep the athlete at the center of it. Discuss with the coach, always have that coach-led approach. and then see how we can, complement the efforts of what is already happening. So I think the fact that we're all on, a similar platform, common mindset, and we're taking sport forward, we've really come a long way, and I'm only hopeful and positive about what else will come in the coming years.
Wow, that's quite a bit. We definitely need a lot more OGQs and Go Sports foundations and for this country. But thank you for all the great work that both you and Viren are doing. Adil, I'll come to you. I know we're getting a little tighter on time, but we can have all the great plans, and then all of a sudden something like COVID-19 can come, and that's going to have a big impact. It's almost been a year since we've seen a lot of the restrictions on physical movement and social distancing. So I just want to understand how COVID-19 has impacted the preparations for Tokyo, and also is there anything that we can look forward to as Track and Field Federation prepares for 2024 in Paris?
Yeah, thank you, Neil. Yes, COVID-19 has affected everybody across the world, and we are part of that ecosystem. So yes, it's affected everyone. I think it being postponed by a year may be a blessing in disguise, at least for athletics, because I think couple of our athletes who were injured are getting more time to recover. We had them in camps, whether it was in Patiala, Bangalore, Ooty, etc., even before COVID happened. So we put them into a bubble there. For some time, they weren't allowed to train, but later they were. So as far as training goes, physical training goes, they've been okay. As far as their mental setup goes, we are trying hard, because it's as good as a house arrest, because they're in a bubble, can't do much, can't go out. So we're trying to do our best in whatever way to make sure they're mentally strong and healthy.